Hey guys, I'm Paige.
Connor.
Taylor, and together we are the three amigos. Today we are going to be talking to you about three different articles from the Sports Business Journal. Mine will be covering specifically a nonprofit organization called Good Sports that actually has a very positive impact on recreational sports and that whole industry, which I'll go into further. Paige?
And I will be talking about New York City's marathon and how they take biometric data to the public by ESPN Sports Center. So they take statistics that will be live, so it keeps the audience engaged.
We'll be talking a little bit about how starting recreational events and different competitions in your town can help boost the economy, get the community more involved, and help increase exposure to these different recreational activities.
Well, that's all for now, and I hope you guys enjoy.
So the article in the Sports Business Journal that I found here is stressing how recreational events can help bring positive shifts in a town's economy, as well as improve the overall numbers of the community's participation. 2 decades ago, in the city of Richmond, they were struggling to keep their annual marathon afloat. They did not have very many participants coming in, with only a few hundred runners signing up, many of them from the town of Richmond itself, so not a lot of outside participation as well. And they turned to John Lugbill, who was the executive director of the local sports commission in Richmond, and his idea was to, instead of going out and trying to bid on these big recreational events and competitions, to start them at the ground level in their own town and grow them into what they are today. So he did that with the marathon about 20 years ago, working with the local runners club and other recreational groups to increase exposure, and started hitting the markets to get some outside participation as well. And it's now the 12th largest in the country. And he also liked to utilize natural venues for different events in the outdoor realm. So the Richmond Dominion River Rock Adventure Sports Festival uses the natural parks and rivers and rapids to promote water sports and have events for different things in those realms. And the town in general shifted from spending money on bidding for the events, and they'd turn that money into promoting their own and making them be the best that they can be. Richmond also tried to appeal to popular sports markets as well, with different sports like football, lacrosse, baseball, hockey, basketball, things like that. But instead of getting the large tournaments into their town, into their city, they would start it with their local clubs at the ground level and incubate them with funding so that they can increase exposure and get more people to come participate in their events. They now have 13 events that include a couple road races that range from competitive marathons to business 5Ks and fun runs for kids, a couple cycling and rowing events, and like I mentioned before, the Adventure Sports Festival, which is one of their largest events to date. And many of the community members find themselves participating and spectating in these recreational events more often now. They go out and participate in things that they never heard of or never would have heard of before if it weren't for the fact that the city started to bring in the people that were going to participate in them. So one of the main points of the article is that the production of recreational events in the town positively can impact the economy and the community by attracting businesses and participants from all across the country to come and join in on fun.
So Connor, do you think that the trend of creating and supporting your own event will reach across the country to other places?
Yeah, so an example actually that was given in the journal article itself was that Chicago tried to adopt this model that Richmond was using, and they tried to create the city's biggest office party in the form of a 5K run that was going to be held at the Ballpark Village. That was for companies and corporations all across the city. So it's definitely something that can be done in other cities and towns. The only thing is that it needs to probably be a city that has a large population. It'd be hard for a town like Erie, for example, to really lift off using this model, but it showed that it worked in other places, so hopefully it continues to grow.
Nice. TCS New York City Marathon. It's actually coming up this November 6th, and it's sponsored by Tata Consultancy Services. And a little statistic as being the greatest growth rate in the past 5 years is adventure racing and triathlons. So this incorporates in the marathon, they're choosing 10 athletes that will wear sensors that will feed biometric data for television broadcast. And it's done by ESPN Sports Science. Video broadcasters said it would be more interesting to see recreational runners' health data than seasoned professionals, and I think this because it'll be more interesting to see if just a recreational runner will maybe like meet the time of someone that like is professional to this.
So what exactly does the data focus on with this technology that's going to be used by these runners?
Well, they call it the puck technology, and I think it's because it's like in the shape of a puck, but it focuses on heart rate, your breathing rate, your body temperature, your pace, and the cadence. So it really gives the people watching, like, it makes it feel like they're actually in the race because everybody wants to know statistics. So I think it's really interesting that they can do this technology through like Bluetooth, so it keeps the audience engaged and better acquainted with the run.
Hey guys, so today I'm here to talk to you about an article that I found from the Sports Business Journal, which was about a nonprofit organization named Good Sports Inc., which is run by a CEO named Melissa Harper. She's been there for more than a decade, and basically what her organization is, like I said, is nonprofit, and what it does is it distributes donated sporting goods to youth organizations worldwide. As of right now, I believe, drum roll please, she has donated over $15 million worth of sporting goods equipment worldwide, which is pretty impressive. And her reason behind all this is actually the participation rates in youth sports has actually been down and on a decline. So I think it's definitely a good effort to create better environments for children growing up because obviously, as we know, with the decline in youth sports comes an increase in child obesity rates. So I think it's overall just a good effort.
Taylor, is there any quotes that the CEO found about the future of recreation?
Yes, actually, Melissa Harper was quoted saying, when you look at youth sports historically, it was in a recreational environment where anyone could play. Most of the programs provided everything the kids needed. Now, when kids show up, there are fees associated that didn't exist 30 years ago. It has turned into a business. I couldn't agree more with Melissa here. I think that this changed. I mean, when I was in youth sports, it was the best time ever, and she's right. You just had to show up with your buddies and you could play. The junior league I actually used to play in now charges like upwards of $6,000 a person to play on a team when I didn't even have a fee when I played, and that was like 4 years ago. So I think things are heading towards a business side, most certainly.